Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Snuv, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Clash of Kings, chapters 7 and 8. In these chapters, Robb gets to be a king. Tyrion gets to be the hand of a king.
Yay.
Quality content. Okay, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Hope y'all are okay. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. So that's the vibe of this episode. It's probably a good one to listen to if you're trying to fall asleep and can't. So this one's for y'all and your insomnia.
Oh
Probably for my insomnia, honestly. But I can never fall asleep listening to my voice, though. Okay, we're going down a rabbit hole. So, Harmit, what you think of these chapters?
They were good. I enjoyed them.
Did you get why I was happy?
No, I didn't. I don't understand, what specifically, though? Like, I was thinking, I was like, I don't get it. What?
The whole thing with Janos Slint.
Yeah.
It was so entertaining.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought, too, but, like, I thought it was, like, something specific, so I couldn't think of, like...
I should just never tell you my opinion on things beforehand.
No, because I was like, oh my gosh, what specifically did she like more than the other? Like, you know? I was like, what? I was like, this was all good. It was nice to see this dude, like, literally get crushed.
So, summarizing. We're doing that.
Yes.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we start the chapter, and they were there, and they bring out this, like, prisoner who's, like, a Lannister and a Frey, and they're like, okay, you're gonna take this message to Cersei, or else, and then you're gonna come back, and it's like, these are all our terms and conditions, and if Cersei agrees, then we can have peace. If not, you're gonna get another Whispering Wood, or whatever, and they're just being really cocky, and it's not a great look. Tyrion is having dinner with Janos Slint, as you do, and he's like, so, how did you do this? What about this? What about that? He's just kind of poking holes, trying to get him to say shit, and then at the end, he's like, okay, well, you're going to the Wall tomorrow, so that's good, and him and Varys...
Okay, that's the minute. Well done. I thought I was the one that was the morning person and couldn't stay up past 7. Okay, all right. So. Cool. Okay, Catelyn, you talk about it, and then if I remember and have the brain capacity to, I'll add things.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. So, we start the chapter, and Catelyn's like, Robb has a crown, and she kind of, like, describes the crown, and it's cool.
It's a band of bronze with iron spikes. And no flashy bits, because it's the thing of the north, and north people are cold, and boo.
Yeah.
I don't know why boo, but, like, everything has to be like, oh, we're the northerners. We're better than y'all, because we don't do gems.
Yeah, we don't dwell on all that foolish business, alright?
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, gems are stupid. Oh. Yeah, I said it. Gold is even stupider. I hate, like, gold is such an ugly color. Why would anybody want... Okay, so, yeah. He's got a cool... I was gonna say helmet, but it's not.
Yes,
a crown.
He's got a crown.
He's still not used to wearing it.
Yeah, and just like he's not used to his position. Not doing too
weighs
great.
Heavy on him, as Catelyn keeps being like.
Catelyn's descriptions of him sometimes are just so like, okay, like I get that you're his mom, but like let's move on, you know?
Yeah, it's honestly today when I was reading this, it was like reminding me of my mom. And I have been an adult for a few years now. You know, I can do things on my own, but my mother doesn't seem to believe it. And that seems to be the same case for Catelyn. Now, it's true that Robb is 15, so it's a different situation. Yeah. But still, like, he's in this position now. Just let him figure it out.
Yeah.
Parents can be so overbearing sometimes.
I know, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of get it, because this is like
I know.
Like, if you're like trying to go grocery shopping and like your mom's saying something about it, that's very different than like if you're trying to manage a kingdom and your mom's saying something about it. Like, I just feel like it's a different...
But I just don't have the energy to be sympathetic towards Catelyn today.
That's fair. I can get that. And so then they bring out what's his name?
Sir Cleos Frey.
Yes. They bring out Sir Cleos Frey, and he's like related to Tywin's sister, and he's also a
Tywin's Frey. Nephew, Jenna Lannister's kid, or Jenna Frey. I don't know. Like, Jenna Lannister married some Frey dude, Emmon Frey.
Yes.
And yeah, so Cleos is Jaime and Cersei and Tyrion's cousin.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So yeah, he's a Frey, he's a Lannister, and so he's brought out because he was one of the prisoners that was taken, and they're like, so...
Even though he's like, his last name is Frey, like, because his dad is Frey, they chose to fight with the Lannisters instead of the Starks, so it's like this whole... thing.
Controversy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so so they bring him out, and Robb's like, okay, buddy, you have to pledge on your honor that you're gonna carry a message to the queen, and then you have to come back. And he's like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. And then
he's more like, yes, please, just let me be free. He's more along those lines, then yeah, cool, whatever.
Yes. So he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then Robb's like, okay, we'll make peace with the queen, just as long as she has to do all these things. And he has like a million conditions. So let's go through them. So first, the queen has to release Sansa and Arya, who she totally has. And she has to send them by sea. And
just make sure they get to Winterfell. And once they do, Robb will release a couple of the queen's cousins. And that's that part of the deal. And the second part is that he wants Ned's bones and all of the, Stark people's remains returned to them, and so that they can be buried in Winterfell and all.
Yeah, and at this point...
Go ahead.
And at this point, Catelyn's kind of like thinking about those deaths again, and she's like, ugh, I blame myself again.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, I told Ned to go, and I'm like, he's a human. He has, he makes his own decisions.
Yeah.
Like, you may offer your opinion.
Yeah.
But you can't, stop.
Yeah, there was a lot of factors that went into his death, like more than 1,000. You had maybe like one thing in there, like it's good, it's okay.
It was complicated. There was a whole 700-page book about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he also has the condition that ice has to be delivered to him at River Run. But when I read this, I was thinking about how you said I wasn't going to be happy with Ice's fate.
No, I said
like, I don't
you
like
weren't
that.
going to be happy, but you were also going to be happy.
Wait,
and
that's
that
what you
both
said?
of those things were true. Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
And you were like, how can both of them be true? Because, well, they can.
Oh my gosh.
You just don't know.
Gotcha. I see. And then further conditions is that Tywin has to release the people that he took captive in the battle that we saw Tyrion fight, the one on the Green Fork. So he's like, okay, he has to release those people. And then after that's done, he'll release all the captives from Whispering Wood and Battle of the Camps, but not Jaime. Literally everybody else.
He's like the guarantee for Tywin's good behavior, which is fair, but also like Jaime's basically the only thing they want from all of this. So.
Exactly. And like, I think at one point later in the chapter, Catelyn even says like the Lannisters, like the damnably fertile house or something. Like, they do not care about any of these people. Like, right? What are you on about?
They haven't. Most of them are dispensable because there's just so many of them.
Yeah, exactly.
What do they care about Cleos Frey?
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, let him die. You know, like, to them.
I mean, I don't know. Probably Jenna Lannister cares, but.
Yeah, but you think they're gonna consult Jenna Lannister? They barely consult themselves.
That's true. Yeah. So anyway, that's his fourth condition. And then he's like, oh yeah, plus when this tiny thing, we're just gonna take a couple of your kingdoms and be our own kingdom, you know?
Yeah. Like
the North and the Riverlands.
Yeah. Here's this deal where pretty much you're giving us all of these things. We're giving you maybe like a few of your people back. And yeah, so this is a peace treaty. Let's agree to it. I'm like, y'all did not think this through. He
has won all the battles he's fought so far. All being two, but still. Like, they're in a strong position to treat, but also, yeah, because, well, it's a balance, because Catelyn's like, just give them what they want. I just want my kids back, which is fair. Like, of course you want your kids back. But then he has to consider the opinions of his lords and all, and they've lost so much to the Lannisters to, like, give them what they want. Nobody, like, would be happy with that. There's Lord Karstark, who lost 2 of his kids, and he, like, walked out when Robb was like, okay, here's the treaty terms, because he doesn't want there to be a treaty at all.
Yeah. And just, like, the Lannisters have just been so prominent for so long that, like, literally nobody likes them. Like, obviously, because they just do so much shit. So it's like, now that they're in a position to finally do something about it, they're like, let's tear shit up. But it's like, okay, like you said, there needs to be somewhere in there that they can do. But they're really only,
this, like, whole ruling business, it's, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, if I were the prime minister, I would make the world so much better, or, like, you know.
Yeah.
But it's so much more complicated.
Yeah.
I just wish it weren't.
Yeah, definitely. So then at this point, everybody's like, yeah, that's the term we're talking about. That's the terms. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Great John Umber is like, King of the North. And at one point, Catelyn's like, he is Robb's, hold on.
Like, most fiercest.
Loudest, truest, and fiercest batterman. Or so he insisted.
Yeah. He's very passionate about his King in the North. Good for him. So then he's like, yeah, so, you know, those are all our casual terms. Here's a map. Have fun.
He's like, you know, as long as y'all are okay with this and, like, promise that you'll do this, I will release a couple hostages every year, you know? And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It'll
Yeah, we'll see how
and he's like, well, if she meets them, I'll give her peace. If not, I'll give her another Whispering Wood. And
like, very dramatic.
Like a total 15-year-old thing to say.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like, so all the dudes in the hall are like, yeah, Stark. And I'm like, that was kind of lame, honestly.
That's true. So then, you know, the court or whatever is adjourned, and then Edmure's there, Catelyn and Robb are there, and they're kind of having a conversation. And Catelyn's like, okay, that was okay, good job. And they're kind of talking about, like, the plans. And we find out that Edmure was like, hey, Robb, let's let the River Lords, like, go to their own lands and, like, do their own thing, except instead of all being gathered
they're,
here.
Like, while waiting at River Huron, they're kind of losing their strength because people, like, keep going home to defend their own lands.
Yeah.
And the reason that it was Edmure who suggested that they be allowed to go home. So Catelyn's a little bitter about that. Yeah.
And even though they, like, went home to defend their lands, it's not working that great for them. And it's just... And that's kind of the thing, is, like, okay, yeah, like, they just won these 2 battles, but it's, like, the Lannisters still have all of these resources, and, like, they have all of these resources to, like, go after your, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're still causing so much destruction to you. Like, they're not the only ones. And, like, I think, who was it? Brendan says later, too, he's like, both sides have bloodshed. Like, both sides are... There's stuff going on. Like, we need to think about all of this. And then Catelyn kind of points out, she says, a wiser man might have offered sweeter terms. So she's kind of saying the same thing. She's like, I don't know if this is gonna work, buddy.
And, you know, Robb is like, yeah, well, they want Jaime Lannister and I can't release him because my people won't stand by that.
Yeah.
And Catelyn's like, oh, are you so afraid to have Jaime in the field again? And on one hand, like, Robb is like, I beat him once, I can beat him again. But also, Jaime is an experienced, like, battle strategist. Yeah, you want him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's
like,
a good thing that you're
out there.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you're, like, scared of him and you're gonna put him away. Like,
acknowledge his strengths and just be like, yeah,
definitely.
They're just like, there's a lot of feelings, and it's
yes, definitely. Everybody's like, this is what I want, and
and then Robb's like, hey, you want to go hang out at the Twins and pick my bride for me? Just his way of getting her out of the way, and just like, and she's like, oh no, I'll just hang out with my dad until he dies. You know, you're old enough to pick your own bride. For 15-year-old man grown.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, not that she should pick his bride, but, like, also he should. Like, nobody, in my opinion,
should pick their bride at 15.
Nobody should get married until they're at least 30. Like,
oh my gosh.
That's my, like,
really?
If anybody gets married before they're 30, I'm like, but you're a child, though.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Anyway, yeah, so and
then they kind of move on from this, like, petty, like, oh my gosh, you should go, oh my gosh, no.
Oh yeah, and then if Catelyn won't go to the Twins, he's like, oh, go with Theon, because Theon's gonna go talk to his dad and get him on our side. And Catelyn's like, that is a bad idea. We've kept him hostage for a reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but when Ned, like, remember when Catelyn visited King's Landing with the dagger, and, like, she and Ned got to talk for a minute? Yeah. Ned was like, okay, go home and prepare, like, the borders. And then one of the things that he emphasized was make sure that you keep an eye on Theon Greyjoy, because he's we need him. He's important. Yeah. And here Robb is sending him on his way.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, they're bros. He trusts him.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And yeah, so he has faith that Theon will be able to convince his dad to get on their side.
Yeah.
Catelyn doesn't have the same faith.
Yeah.
And she reminds him that, like, he rebelled before. And Robb's like, yeah, well, if he wants to be the king of the Iron Islands, why not? Like, let him do that.
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't want to listen to you anymore, so I'm sending Theon. Bye. See ya.
Yeah. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go see my dad. So then she goes over there, and Brendan's there, and he's back from his
scouting mission.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So then they're kind of talking, and they're like, how's our dad? He's not doing great. He's kind of like not doing great. Yeah, he's definitely dying. But they did, Brendan and his dad did kind of like make up a little bit.
Her dad.
Or, her dad, like the brothers made up.
Yeah.
So that's good.
They're mostly cool right now. And then they kind of step out onto the balcony to like talk business, and they notice the comet.
Oh
so we get this perspective on what it means. The Great John is like, it's a red flag for vengeance.
Maybe it's a red flag for danger.
Yeah, and then Edmure's like, oh, it's an omen of victory for Riverrun, because it's the red fish on a blue sky.
These people.
Catelyn's like, I don't know, crimson's a Lannister color.
Yeah.
And Brendan Blackfish is like, yeah, it's not crimson red or the mud red of Riverrun, it's the color of blood.
Oop. Yeah. And this is where he's kind of like, yeah, and then he kind of gives us like a fight update, and like he's like, yeah, people are losing, but like Beric Dondarrion is still going strong.
Hold on, there was this he's been raiding and like they go and fight some of Tywin's parties, and then like go hide again, and then fight again and hide again. And that Sir Burton Craycall was like, oh yeah, I totally killed Dondarrion, until he was killed by Dondarrion.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was a good. I feel like this guy's the one, like in every update it's like, hey, we're losing, but this guy did a good thing for us.
Yeah.
So that's a nice moment.
I just love these like tiny updates we keep, like we haven't seen them since like way back in the middle of the first book.
Yeah. It's been so long. Oh my gosh. And then Gregor is still fucking shit up.
Yeah, and he actually killed the last dairy.
Yeah.
The dairies, we kind of gotten to know them a bit.
Yeah. And
the last dairy was only a kid, so
that sucks. And
their dairy be no more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's just not great. And
there be no more dairy. I don't know which one sounds better.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it just like it just sucks, because it's like all these. Man, it just sucks. Whatever. Okay,
yeah.
Moving on. I feel like I say the same thing every time, so I'm like, it just sucks. Let's move on.
Everything sucks. That's pretty much a summary of the whole series.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they talk about like what Tywin's doing. So it turns out the Lannisters are gathering a second army. Just
wow.
One large one wasn't enough. Back in Casterly Rock. Mm-hmm. But that army is made up of like newcomers, like green boys, as the wall people would call them.
So really, like it's not supposed to be super functional. It's just to keep weakening them and keep. But
they're not going to put them to use until they're functional. So they have a little bit of time until they're like out on the field. That army.
Yeah.
And it's being led by what's his name, Sir Stafford Lannister, Tywin's cousin, and Tywin's wife's brother.
Oh my gosh. These people have so many family members. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they're talking about how Tywin's kind of like biding his time, sitting in Harrenhal, just waiting for them to attack because he knows that he has like a stronger position.
Yeah.
And
with all this like destruction and everything, they're getting like really like anxious to like get out there and fight. So he might get his wish.
Yeah. And we get a little bit of talk of Harrenhal, the castle itself, how Harren the Black built it, and it took him 40 years. But the day that he it was finished, King Aegon the Conqueror kind of landed in King's Landing and was like, well, your reign won't last long.
I know, that's so sad. Imagine working 40 years on something.
Sad, but you don't know this, but this dude was terrible. Maybe it actually even says, but it's he worked his people until they died. He was not a good king.
I know. I'm just putting that aside, just thinking about working 40 hours on something and not 40 hours, years. 40 years. Very different.
But he didn't work on it. He just sat and was like, hey, y'all That's people.
True. He really did nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point I was
and now it's ever since Harren the Black died, every house that has held Harrenhal has come to misfortune.
Wow.
And it's said that it's cursed.
Maybe we should have let Janos Slynt keep it. I mean, he is cursed now, so I guess it worked.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Worked by proxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Never actually went there. Hey, but maybe since Tywin is there now.
I feel like the Lannisters are just so big that they're immune to things.
Yeah.
It's kind of humans mess with stuff so much that we're not immune, but we kind of mess up natural evolution. So I feel like the Lannisters are kind of that on a smaller scale. It's they mess up the natural laws. They're just so annoying and interfering with everything.
Right. Well, so Tywin is basically, like we said, he's gonna stay holed up in Harrenhal until he's attacked, unless he has a reason to leave Harrenhal.
What
and
could that
Catelyn
be?
thinks that King Renly could be that reason.
Wow. King Renly with his rainbow guard.
Yeah, well, why not? They're
Yes.
Well, his rainbow guard is just 7 people, but he does have a huge army.
Yes. Yes. Yes, definitely.
All right, so that's that chapter. Let's talk about predictions and things and opinions and stuff.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So what do you think of... We already kind of hashed this out, but do you think Robb should have offered sweeter terms or more bitter terms?
I just think that, I understand where he's coming from, but I think he isn't thinking about, he needs, he's not in the head of his enemy, you know what I mean? He has to think as Cersei or as Tywin. Does he genuinely think that they are going to respond well to this? I feel so
but
then,
it's
what's the point?
A thing he's doing to satisfy his mom while not angering his badder people.
I know, but it just feels tedious, but, all of this is tedious, so... it's just kind of okay, this is not gonna work. Either... okay, yeah, I get it. I get... There's, really nothing else he could have done, realistically that would have kind of, you said, still gotten that, not angered the people too much and not been totally oppositional to, what his mom and other people are saying. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm maybe just, I don't think he should have given them Jaime, because I feel like Jaime is, too much of an asset. But then at the same time, it's that's the only thing he's kind of not doing, so...
Yeah.
It's if there was, I don't know.
Well, Catelyn suggests that, if he were to not insist on being the king in the north, maybe that would help. What about that?
That would definitely help, but he can't...
Yeah, but would his people respect him?
No, there's no way. It's too... it's... they're too enthusiastic about this. They finally... Because, like, for so long, it's like the Lannisters have, like, done all this shit, and they're just too fed up with it, you know? They're like, oh my gosh, the king in the north, like, we're gonna get a way to get out of this and, like, keep our everything that, like, we want. And, like, just, like, I guess just, like, also the history of, like, you know, they were the kings in the north, until, I don't remember who the specific person was, but, like...
Yeah, and they have a different, like, religion.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like they blend together anyway in the system that they're currently in. So, like, they want to be on their own. So they're not going to pass up this opportunity because it's probably the only one they're going to get. Like, there's just no way. So that's really, like, I understand why Robb's not doing that. Like, there's really no way he can at this point. So, like, I guess he's doing the right thing. The one thing I would say is don't send Theon. That thing I'm definitely not on his side for. I don't trust the guy either. Like, literally any description we have from him, I'm he is so suspicious.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it in a second. I just want to continue talking about his, like, terms. Do you think the Lannisters will accept any of those terms? Because he's got a few. Yeah. Will they counter with, like, a balance, or? I
feel like there's a few options. I think there's the option where they could, you know, outright reject it and just, like, get mad and can keep fighting, you know? Just, like, fight more intensely now that they're like, how dare this kid give us terms, you know? They could just, like, get more mad. Or they could be like, yeah, son, this offer sucks. Here's a counter offer. And then, like, give a counter offer, which Robb is definitely not going to accept because they already don't want to bargain with the Lannisters. So if they asked for more of a bargain, they wouldn't accept that either. And then they could also, I guess they could, like, pretend to accept the terms and then, like, go through with, like, or be like, oh, let's do them in a different order. We'll give you Sansa and Arya after you give us these people. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, something like that. So... Okay. So I feel like... Yeah. So I feel like something like that they could propose.
Okay. And the one thing that Robb doesn't know, he's, like, assuming that Cersei will be the main person, like, dealing with these terms, but Tyrion's there now as well. Yeah. Will that impact anything?
I was thinking about that too. And I feel like because of Tyrion, I feel like it won't be... Because of Tyrion, it'll definitely be more, like, calculated and thought through. Like, it won't be as, like, they're not just gonna, like, ramp up the fighting.
If there's no Jaime, I don't want to hear the terms.
Yeah, like, we're definitely not gonna have that. It's gonna be a little bit more diplomatic just because Tyrion's there. So I feel like the either rearranging of terms so that they can do some sort of trick or, like, kind of betray them in some way. Or, because also, like, let's say they do... Obviously, they're not going to want to agree to these terms, but let's say they did. The first term is Sansa and Arya. They can't fulfill that first. Yeah. So they have to ask for, and they're not going to tell them that they don't have Arya, because then they're just, you know what I mean? They can't tell them that. But at the same time, there's the potential of one of them finding Arya, which could also change how things go. Like, Arya could get back safely, which I don't think is going to happen, but it could. It could. So, like, I just feel like there's so many, like, there's literally 100 ways this could go, and I'm confused.
Right. Okay, that's fair. All right.
And, like, the whole Renly thing as well, like, Renly's not gonna want to be like, oh, yeah, let me partner up
with you're skipping ahead. We're gonna go through this one point at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is Lord Karstark. They're somewhat concerned that he's gonna, like, up and take his men back to the north because he's not happy with the fact that they're treating the Lannisters. What do you think the chances are of that happening?
I don't think... It's definitely a possibility because, you know, like, man's lost 2 kids and, like, obviously a lot more smaller things as well, but, like, mainly, like, the 2 kids.
And I think it was Jaime who killed his kids, so he definitely wouldn't want to give him up.
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't... But at the same time, I don't think he's just gonna up and leave. Excuse me. I don't think he's gonna up and leave. I feel like he'll just, like... like, once again, like, let's say the Lannisters give a counter offer or something else, like, he's just gonna be like, no, let's just not do it, you know? He'll just be on the side of, like, scrapping the proposal. Or, I mean, this is kind of a wacky guess, but he could be like, let me go kill Jaime so we can't do anything about it anyway. But I don't think he's that rash. I don't think he's gonna like, ask
for permission to go kill Jaime.
Oh, no, I think if he was to do it, I think he would just go do it.
Oh, right. Okay.
He ain't about to get that permission.
Well, the way you said it, you were like, let me go kill Jaime, and then we'll be cool.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's good. Sorry, I was like reaching for my things. That's all good. And that's why I didn't respond properly.
It's all good. And I just I just feel like the main thing is like, it's just like the Lannister defeat has just been so long. Like, they've just been anticipating it for so long, and they just like want it so badly that I just don't see like a diplomatic arrangement going through. Like, I just don't see it happening. Like, nobody really wants to do that, so I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Theon now. So you don't think it's a good idea to send him?
I don't think so.
He's not trustworthy? Because he's shady?
I think he's shady, but also, like, you know, unreliable narration. I'm relying on, like, even in this chapter, Catelyn's like, he always looks like he's smiling about something that no one knows. You know what I mean? Like, I can't go off of that. I don't know this guy. But, like, from what I do know, I don't trust him. And, like, let's say even if he was trustworthy, doesn't matter. He's going to talk to his dad, like, and he hasn't been with them for his whole life. He's been with them for half of his life, right? So he still, like, knows his dad. You know what I mean? Like, you can't underestimate that influence of his dad.
Right. So you think even if he wants to help Robb, his dad might not want to?
Yeah, and, like, I think, like, if his dad wanted to convince him to not, I think it wouldn't be that hard to convince your son.
Okay, so Theon
I just think it's risky.
His dad's like, okay, wait. Yeah. So Theon goes there, his dad's like, yeah, no, we're not going to help out Robb, and we're going to keep you here, because, like, why would we return you as a hostage? And then what? Like, that's that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I feel like I don't know enough about this guy to, like, even know what he wants. Like, he had a rebellion, right? Like, that was a thing, Theon's rebellion? Or no, Greyjoy's
dad.
Greyjoy's rebellion.
Balon's rebellion, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So, I don't know. Maybe he's just like, okay. Or, okay, so he agrees, he sends Theon back, it's a thing, but, like, later on, whenever they get a chance, he's like, no, like, I don't know, like, I want my son, or, like, I want these lands, or, like, whatever he wants. I'm not sure what he wants. But, like, maybe he's like, oh, yeah, I'll be on your side. But then when it comes down to actually having to be on their side, he's like, oh, just a little condition. You know, like, something like that. Kind of unexpected, where you're like, okay, I have all these people on my side, and then one of them's like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, that would not be good. They need some, because the, like, strategic advantage of having the Greyjoys on their side is that they got all them ships, and then, you know, they can attack the Lannisters via sea and stuff, so.
Yeah, would not want them to back out of that.
All right. That's fair. And okay. Brynden Tully, Catelyn's dad. Is her dad gonna die, or is he just gonna be dying?
I think he'll be dying, and then, like, I feel like he's gonna die at, like, a really bad moment. Like, things are just gonna keep getting worse. And then as it keeps getting worse, then it'll be like, okay, now he's officially dead. And it'll just be a bad moment all around.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be, like, all the terrible things piling on, and then, like, to just, like, the cherry on the top.
Yeah, exactly.
The poop on the top, because it's terrible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about Renly. So, you were about to get into this whole thing.
Yeah.
You don't think he's gonna engage Tywin?
No. No. I think he will. I think he will. I think he will be like, okay, yeah, let's do this thing. But I just feel like internally he will have reservations about the whole king thing. He'll be like, what if, because, you know, he's from the south. He doesn't really get it. Like, he doesn't understand
king in the north thing?
Yeah, he doesn't understand that northern perspective. Like, he's not, I think, like...
Okay, so wait, hold on. You're confusing me. You're saying that he will kind of ally with the Starks, but he won't be happy with Robb being the king of the north.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He'll have reservations about that, because, you know, he's not
But,
from
like, okay, here's the thing you're not considering. Like, even if the Lannisters weren't fighting with the Starks, Renly would still have to fight with the Lannisters, because he wants to be king, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, he doesn't have to be on the Stark side to fight with the Lannisters.
Yeah, but I just feel like, because if he has the Starks, then he has, like, was it 2 or 3 more, like, great houses on his side? Like, he has more people in, like,
right.
I just feel like I think it is beneficial for him. Because he has more people, and then he has more people that are...
how are they gonna, like, get together? Like, how's that gonna happen?
Oh, like, how are they gonna... Well...
Because, like, Renly's all the way in the south, and they're, you know, in the Riverlands.
I think Catelyn's probably planning on, like, going to go do that. Because...
She's gonna go visit Renly?
I think... She says if she would ask help from the man, she would need to grant him the style he had claimed for himself. I feel like she'll be the one to actually go. So she'll go with, like, other people, I'm assuming, not alone.
Okay.
To the south to be like, hey, Renly. But, like, also, like, do they have time for that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, is she gonna send a letter?
I mean, Robb would be like, yes, please do go.
But, like,
so I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they're also, I guess they're also training that second army. So they do have a little bit of time. The Lannisters are training that second army. So it's not like the Lannisters about to come fight them today. So, I think they're gonna go to the south and kind of deal with that. More, I feel like Catelyn's just always traveling.
Right. Okay. I am satisfied with that. Let's move on to Tyrion. I love the first line. Janos Slynt was a butcher's son, and he laughed like a man chopping meat. And I'm just like, what does that even sound like? Like, what does that sound like?
I think it's just like, if you laugh as you chop meat, there's a certain sinisterness to you. You know?
He laughed like a man See, okay, that's not what I totally didn't. I misread that, and I thought it was like his laugh sounded like the sound of meat being chopped, as opposed to a man like laughing while he's chopping meat. But yours makes way more sense.
Oh my gosh! 1 second, I'm just gonna grab my charger. Okay, I'm good to go.
You good? Yeah. So Tyrion's dining and wining Janos, and getting him drunk, really whining him.
He's really whining himself.
No, Janos is?
Yeah.
Right, I thought when you said himself, because I thought you were talking about Tyrion.
Oh, gotcha.
But, like, Tyrion is specifically refraining from not drinking too much.
Yes.
Because he needs his senses about him. He needs
some intel.
Right. So, okay. Let me, I'm going to show you this illustration from the book.
Okay.
Share screen. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
So that's his spear. Like, his... this is the thing he's pinned his cloak with. It's funny. A literal mini spear with, like, red paint enameled to be like, it's not just a spear, it's a bloody spear.
That's funny. That's Janos Slynt?
Yeah. No. That's Tyrion.
Oh, Tyrion holding it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because, like, Tyrion's like, hey, can I take a look at that?
Right. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, so Janos is just the worst kind of person, honestly.
Yeah.
Remember that time when Sansa was like, I wish somebody would just, like, take him out back and chop off his head. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Tyrion is more refrained than that, but still. Like.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so take us through the chapter.
Okay, cool. So... Oh, also, before we actually get into the, like, real content of the chapter, I was just thinking, so, Tyrion mentions near the beginning of the chapter how, like, the first thing he did when he got here is, like, he found out who the best cook was and hired them,
right.
And I was like, why don't other people do that? Like, how do you have the best cook? Why do other people not care about food?
That cook was probably working for someone. He just paid them more. He just offered them a better deal.
That's true, but I just, like, find it weird that we've done a book and nobody has mentioned, like, this.
Yeah, the Tyrion has his priorities right.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. But yes, I just wanted to put that out there. So, you know, they're dining and he's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is what we've eaten today. And I was reading this and I was like, I'm hungry. And then, so... He kind of points out what we were talking about earlier, like how Harrenhal is like, everybody's like, everybody who goes to Harrenhal dies, and he's like, hey, Janos, are you scared? And Janos is like, why should I fear a pile of stone? And he's like, I'm bold, and you're bold, and it's this weird conversation.
We're bold.
Yeah, exactly. So then they start talking about, like, who Slynt recommended to be the new commander of the City Watch, and Tyrion's kind of like, okay, so these are the people you chose, yeah, like, who do you want? And he's like, yeah, Alardim, super great, nice guy,
kills
love
babies
him.
without question.
Yeah, exactly. Nice guy, gotta love him, gotta respect him. And then Tyrion's like, oh yeah, I was just thinking about this one other guy that's not on your list. Here's all the great things about him. Why isn't he on your list? And Slynt's like, oh yeah, he's just not great. He's just
too honorable.
Yeah, he's too honorable.
He wouldn't kill a baby if you asked him.
Yeah, exactly. And like, he's too honorable, and he thinks he's too honorable, so I just don't like him. It's like, okay, buddy, like, chill. And then he's like, and then Tyrion's like, yeah, so I heard a story about a brothel, and he kind of gets into that.
Yeah. And we learn that Gendry, which one did we decide on? Gendry is not the only bastard that Cersei's wanting dead.
Yes.
She sent the City Watch after the little baby we saw that Ned went to see. Yeah. And it's like child mother got in the way and also got killed. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, the mom dying, she did that herself. Like, he told her to not get in the way. And Tyrion's like, yeah, she should have known not to get in the way of her daughter being killed. Like, bruh, this guy's like, I just want to punch him. Anyway, they kind of talk about that, and Tyrion's kind of like, yeah, okay, so, like, who sent you to, go kill the bastard? And Janos is like, I'm not gonna give away my secrets just because I've had a little bit of a wine. And it's a thing.
Yeah.
And then...
and... Hold on. It's like this slow build-up of, like, hey, okay, now that we're talking about, like, people taking over your position, Lord Mormont's been considering who will take over his position. It'd be nice if
you were
somebody
there.
like you were there.
Yeah.
And Janos is like, yeah, right. And Tyrion's like, well, one would think, but life does take queer turns. Consider Eddard Stark. I don't suppose he imagined his life would end on the steps of Baelor Sept. And Janice is like, ha, very few knew that. And Tyrion's like, oh, yeah, they say even Varys was surprised. And like, this is when Tyrion's like, he's like starts to like sober up, like not sober up, but like start talking firmly.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, so from what I know, my sister wanted Stark alive and sent to the Night's Watch. And
he ended up
what
dead.
happened?
Like, what happened?
Yeah, and Slint's like, well, the king said so. And Tyrion's like, well, the king is 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then he's like, Janice is like, yeah, well, he's still the king, the lord of the seven kingdoms. And Tyrion's like, well, one or two of them at least.
I love all these jabs about how there's multiple kings. It's so funny.
Yeah. And that's when he's like, let me take a look at that spear of yours. And he's like, well, it's a little much, honestly. And like, then he like whips it back at Janos once he's done inspecting it and is like, oh wait, he's like, hold on, I just lost my train of everything. He's like, oh, so did you stab Eddard Stark in the back yourself, or did you just give the command? And Janice is like, well, I gave the command. The dude tried to buy me. And Tyrion's like, well, little did he know that you'd already been bought.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is when Slint is like, if you think I will sit here and have my honor questioned, what honor is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I just, it's like funny when people are like so not self-aware, but at the same time you're like, what? How? Like, what? You know, like you genuinely think you have honor. Interesting.
Well, I don't think he genuinely thinks he has like honor in the sense that Ned or whatever has honor, but he like demands respect because he is Lord Janos Slint or whatever.
Yeah,
know?
I know, but like, you know, to be a lord, I feel like you gotta have a certain amount, something in there, some substance. Not need to, but should.
Yeah, should.
Yeah, it's definitely not a requirement in this kingdom for sure.
Yeah. And this is when he changes from calling Tyrion my lord to imp. And then Tyrion asks him how many sons he has, and then he's like, what are my sons to you, dwarf? And Tyrion's like, oh, you should have stopped at imp.
Yeah. Tyrion's like, okay, you want to go? Let's fucking do it. And then he's
like, okay. So, oh yeah, and then he's like, well, one day you'll thank the gods that it was me you had to deal with and not my father.
That's true. His father hates him.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, so I'm not gonna harm your kids. The only reason I want to know is because I want to put them like find a place for them.
Yeah.
So his like younger kids will be fostered out as squires. His oldest son will inherit the title of Lord Slint, but he will not be the Lord of Harrenhal. They'll find him some other lands. And he'll be what does it say? He'll be responsible for like making sure his sister gets married because, you know, that's her job.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so these are the plans for my kids. What do you want to do with me?
Yeah.
And he's like thinking that he's about to get his head chopped off right now.
Yeah.
And Tyrion's like, oh, you know, the Night's Watch needs people.
Yeah. You're
I'll make you Mormont's headache instead of mine.
Yeah.
And Janice is like, oh, so I'm not being killed? And then he gets all like
riled up
like,
again. Yeah.
I know people. King, the queen will hear about this.
I'm like, what do you mean? This is literally everybody that you're trying to complain to is literally his family. Like, are you dumb?
Yeah.
Like, the only reason you're even here...
Yeah, also the fact that he assumes that Tyrion will give him the opportunity to go to them.
Yeah. He's just... he's just not it.
Mm-hmm. So he like stalks out of there, opens the door, and there is Catelyn Bywater.
Oh, yeah.
The new commander of the City Watch. I was going to say Night's Watch, and I was like, that's not right.
The person he specifically said that he didn't want.
Yeah. And he's just like, Jacelyn's just like, hey, we got a car for you out there. We'll take you to the docks and make sure you're on that boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they take him away, and Tyrion, like, to Jacelyn is like, hey, make sure that Dean character, it wouldn't be too bad if a terrible accident, a
hunting accident?
If he were, yeah, exactly, a boating accident.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta have one for every outdoor activity.
Yeah. And then he, like, everybody leaves, and Tyrion's just, like, hanging out there. And then Varys comes in, is like, hey, well done. Nicely done. And Tyrion's like, yeah, I'm not sure I trust you either.
But...
And very much of note here. This is exactly what he says. Mm-hmm. I told them to throw Allar Deem into the sea. I am sorely tempted to do the same with you. You might be disappointed by the result, Varys replied. The storms come and go, the waves crash overhead, the big fish eat the little fish, and I keep on paddling. Here I present to you evidence number 1 for why Varys is a mermaid.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that was a theory. Oh yeah.
People use this as evidence.
That's why. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm definitely not saying that it's evidence, nor that I agree with this theory, but now I can understand how it came about. I should make it clear.
This is a very ridiculous theory.
I know, but like, before I was like, what could possibly happen to make you think that? But now I'm like, oh, like,
yeah, but like
the water relationship.
This is just him being like, people in power change, but I just hang in there.
I know.
But like,
people take it very literally.
Zero in on it. Yeah,
definitely. That's so funny.
And it's you might be disappointed by the result that like he'll be thrown overboard and turn into a mermaid and then like paddle away.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, that's very funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Oh my gosh. Did you? Okay, wait. Did you think that theory?
No.
Okay, cool. Oh my gosh. That's funny. So then Varys already comes in.
Well,
establish
Tyrion
that...
is like, so it was Cersei who sent the gold cloaks to kill the bastards. And Tyrion's like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And what's his name? Varys is like, well, I know a lot of things. It might take me a long time to
tell you all
the information.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then Tyrion's like, well, you didn't know enough to save this kid. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, yeah, that's true. Although I did save another bastard boy, I took steps to see him removed from harm's way. Wonder who that could be.
Oh my gosh. But then they still freaking found where he went. So yeah. I guess then like freaking Littlefinger was probably like, hey Cersei.
Okay. Cool. So you think Littlefinger knew that Gendry left with the Night's Watch people?
I think so, yeah. That feels like the most logical thing to me. Because I just don't see, like, who else could have known, And, like, Littlefinger just makes the most sense.
I mean, it's not like Ned was just walking into that shop announcing to everyone what he was doing. I'm just thinking.
I know, but, like, Littlefinger just seems like the vibe. And since he's the one who, like, took him there.
He's the one who took him there? No, Varys took him there, honey.
Wasn't it Littlefinger?
No.
Oh, I thought it was Littlefinger. My bad. I forgot.
No, you had already come to the conclusion that it was Varys.
What?
This we talked about. It was Varys.
Wait. What do you mean I'd come to the conclusion that it was Varys?
Because it's never said that it was Varys, but you were like, the description of a stout man with a beard.
No. I think we're talking about different things. I meant that Littlefinger took Ned to the location. I didn't mean that Littlefinger took Gendry.
Well, okay.
Wasn't Littlefinger the one who accompanied Ned to the brothel?
No. Okay, so Littlefinger took Ned to the brothel with the baby, but Ned found out about Gendry through, like, a stable boy that was like, oh yeah, Lord Aaron and Stannis went to the armorer.
Oh, right. And then he went to the armorer and he was like, this boy. And then they had a conversation. Oh, yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Littlefinger was not involved in that. He was involved in the brothel part.
Oh, okay, never mind. Then I redact my theory.
Cool. You better. Yeah, and then they're talking about how, like, the girl, the baby's mom, loved Robert. And Tyrion's like, oh, can a sex worker really love anyone?
Yeah.
He's, like, thinking about Shay and Tysha.
Yeah, he's kind of thinking about his own dilemma of, like, because obviously it's, like, he, like, wants her to like him, and he's like, okay, well, it's better if like the generalization is that a sex worker can't like someone, because then it's like, oh, it's not me, it's just like they're just doing it for the money,
right? So yeah, and Tyrion's like thinking about like how Shay acts around him, and he's like, you know, she makes it seem like she's in love with me, but at the same time, she could just be really good at her job. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's just, he's just like feeling lonely about that, because he's like, I don't know if I actually have this companion.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, it looks like Cersei was telling the truth, that it was all Joffrey, who was responsible for Ned's death. And Varys is like, yeah, King Joffrey gave the command. Janos Slynt and Sir Ilan Payne carried it out. Swiftly, without hesitation. Almost as if they had expected it. What do you think that means?
I don't know, man. So, but, like, he really went out of his way to just be... You know what I mean? Like that's...
Who went out of his way?
Like, that's an odd combination for Joffrey to go...
Oh, right.
Tell,
like,
you know?
Would Joffrey have been like, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna call for his death?
I don't know. I think it just felt more like a, in the moment, the crowd's there, Joffrey's ego rises, and he's like, you know what? We're actually just gonna kill him. Yeah, you guys like that? Yeah, let's just... You know what I mean? It felt more like a crowd-induced thing.
So you don't think this, like...
I don't think it was...
It's almost as this...
I
expected it has...
I don't think so.
That's fair.
It just, like, doesn't feel... Right. Like, especially with Joffrey's
personality. Well, you're wrong, but
personality.
that's fine.
Okay, whatever. All right. But, like, why... Like, that just feels like a weird combination.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, it did seem... Spur of the moment. I'm just terrible, so I'm gonna do this kind of thing.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So, and Tyrion's like, yeah, we've already talked about this. Like, we haven't come to any conclusions. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And then they're talking about how, like, how many people Tyrion's got backing him. You know, the Lannister guard, there's about 100 of them who are, like, on Cersei's side, but Tyrion's like, yeah, but they're technically sworn to, like, all Lannisters, you know?
Yeah.
But even if they aren't on my side, I've got, like, 150 of my mountain men and the gold cloaks now that they're supposedly under his control. And also Bronn has been gathering sellsword. So Tyrion's like, I think I'm well protected.
Yeah, there's...
And then he's like, I bet Ned thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, Ned never thought about that at all.
That's
like,
kind of the problem.
Yeah. He just didn't consider.
And he would, like,
well
give his people away, because he'd be like...
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
At the end, he had, like, 20 people left.
Yeah.
Like,
Man. Yeah. It's crazy how bad Ned was at strategy in any capacity.
Yeah. And then Varys brings up the riddle he posed the other day.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tyrion's like, well, I don't know. It depends on who the sellsword is, as to who will live and who will die. And then Varys gives this little speech. Some say knowledge is power. Some tell us that all power comes from the gods. Others say it derives from law. Yet that day on the steps of Baelor's sept, our godly High Septon and the lawful Queen Regent, and your ever so knowledgeable servant were so powerless as any cobbler or copper in the crowd. Who truly killed Eddard Stark, do you think? Joffrey, who gave the command, Sir Ilan Payne, who swung the sword, or another? Varys seems stuck on this idea, at least. And then Tyrion's like, okay, just give me the answer to the goddamn riddle. Like, I don't have time for this. And Varys is like, okay. Power resides where men believe it resides. No more and no less.
Period.
What do you think of that conclusion?
Yes, that's good. I think last time when we talked about the riddle, I'd said like, oh, he would just kill all of them because people are
and then, like
unfaithful.
be the king and the head of the church and have all the money.
I mean, yeah, but I like his take.
Cool. Okay. And Tyrion's like, so power's like a trick? And then Varys is like, nothing but a shadow on the wall. Yet shadows can kill. And oftentimes a very small man can cast a very large shadow.
Yes.
And Tyrion's like, oh, I hate you, but I love you, but I hate you, but I love you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I might still have to kill you, but I think I'd be a bit sad about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And Varys is like, oh, high compliment.
That's true. But that's kind of what Tyrion's doing. He's getting people on his side. He's gathering his power, even though like realistically he like right now doesn't have that many people. He's still like,
yeah, but also we know that Varys has his own motives.
Yes, but like I like Varys, so I like to not think about that inevitable day where I'm gonna be like, I hate Varys.
Okay. Right. It's complicated with Varys. And Tyrion's like, yeah, like, tell me about yourself. Like, what's your story, you know? And Varys is like, that's a long story. We got treasons to discuss.
Yeah.
And then he gets to his list. So first up, some dude, like a navigator.
Okay, but like
is
this
like,
list... Why does this man's know every specific thing that, like, literally random people
his
in
job.
the kingdom? I know, but, like, why is it so specific? I thought it was just, like, I know, but, like, I always thought it was just this, like, okay, these, like, important things
general
that happen,
ideas.
Right?
Well, this is, like, giving us a look into just how good at his job he is.
That's crazy. He's, like, over this
Be wary
dinner.
of Varys.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah, so this navigator dude is gonna, like, slip off to join Stannis and his people, and Tyrion's like, let Joffrey deal with him. Put him down for a dose of Joffrey's justice, and I felt so bad for the dude.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's, like, the worst thing.
And then, yeah, and then Sir Horace and Sir Hobber Redwine, we heard about them earlier. They're the queen's hostages.
Right. Yeah.
I just want to make sure you recognize the name.
Yes.
They've like planned to escape and sail away disguised as oarsmen. And Tyrion's like, okay, get the man that they bribed and explain what an honor it is to serve as a brother of the Night's Watch. I like the way he phrased that.
Yeah.
And he's like, make sure they don't escape. Like,
yeah.
Like, duh. And then we learned that Timett, son of Timett, killed a wine seller's son that evening because he was cheating. And Tyrion's like, well, good for him. The honest men of the city owe him a debt of gratitude.
Yeah.
And then Varys is like, also, all of a sudden, we have a plague of holing men. All these people are being, like, spurred by the comet. And, you know, they're foretelling doom and destruction and whatever. And Tyrion's like, yeah, it's been 300 years since Aegon came. It's about time that we started talking about doom and destruction, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Been quiet for too long.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I get that, like, you guys are in King's Landing and you don't see what's going on in the rest of the world, but, like, you think doom and destruction is about to start? Like, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like, it's showing us how the bigger, like, the Game of Thrones is having an impact on the regular people and how they're interpreting things, you know?
Yeah.
So that's interesting for sure. And then Varys talks about a dinner party that Lady Tanda hosted. And when Lord Giles rose to lift a cup to the king, Sir Balon Swan joked that we'll need 3 cups for that. And many laughed. And he's like, I've got the guest list if you want to get them all executed.
Oh my gosh.
And Tyrion's like, wait, it's a joke.
Yeah, these people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Varys is like, smart decision. But it's like, imagine if he were reporting this to Joffrey. Oh
my gosh. I can't.
Yeah. So it's Varys leaves and Tyrion like heads to bed. And Bronn is there, and he's like, okay, well, it went well, but I probably just replaced Littlefinger's man with Varys's man.
Yeah. It's like, which one's better?
Yeah. But so be it. And then... Oh, and then Bronn gives a report on, like, how many sellswords he's recruited. And the way he recruits them is he, like, fights them. And Tyrion's like, have you killed any? And then Bronn's like, well, no one we could have used if they died. And if Tyrion's like, if one of them kills you,
hire them.
He'll be the one you want to hire.
I mean, pretty good strategy. But, like, you're brave if you're willing to do that, I guess.
Yeah, and then at this point, Tyrion's still kind of, like, reeling from the night, and he's like, hey, if I told you to kill a baby, would you do it without question? And Bronn's like, without question, no. I'd ask how much you'd pay me. So, and then Tyrion's like, I've got an LR team of my own.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the thing.
Chapitre.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's talk predictions and things. I want to end this recording within an hour and a half, by the way. So. Okay. Well, what do you think? Will Janos Slynt make it to the wall?
I think Janos Slynt will make it to the wall. I have faith that one
How
good thing
will he do
happen.
there?
How will he do there? He'll do well. I mean, he has experience, you know? He has a lot of experience, like, fighting. Like, he's not going to be, like, somebody goes to the wall and, like, doesn't know how to fight, you know?
I guess, yeah, but he's also very, like,
Yeah, well, he can't be anymore, so...
Right, okay. Fair.
He'll probably just become, like, an Alistair, where he's just, like, he's like, oh, I'm good, so I'm gonna take it out on other people, you know?
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Do you think Jacelyn Bywater is a good dude?
I think Jacelyn Bywater's a good dude, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he Varys's dude?
I don't know. He definitely could be, yeah. But I feel like I see him as more neutral. I feel like he's actually gonna, like, try to get the job done well.
Okay.
I mean, like, from the way Janos describes him, he's obsessed with honor, so I'd hope that would give him a little bit less of, like, you know, which side he's on.
He's more Ned than...
Yeah. Yeah. I'd hope, but...
Okay. All right. And you don't think there's any credence to Varys's thoughts behind this another, like, who was responsible for Ned's death?
I'm probably gonna regret this, but no.
Okay. Do you think Shae loves Tyrion, or is she just good at her job?
It could be either, and that's okay.
Yeah, but what do you think?
I mean, like, I think she does love him, I guess, yeah. I think she does. Okay. I'm a hopeless romantic. I would never say no to a potential love story, so yeah, I think it.
All right. And do you think power resides where people believe it resides?
I think that's kind of the definition of power.
All right. Will we ever learn Varys' story? Like, who is he really?
Oh, I really hope so. But, like, I feel like that would, like, take away from his character, so we might never, you know?
Okay. Or, you know, usually learning somebody's backstory adds to a character.
No, but I feel like...
to his, like, mystique.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, like, if it's a really good story, then, yeah, you're right. Like, there would be further mysteries that, like, we wouldn't know, and there would be, like, more intricacies. But I don't know, I just feel like it's gonna end up being something, like, not that great. So then it'll end up being, like, okay, well, now we know, you know?
All right. Okay.
Not that I'm, like, trying to doubt George R.R.'s writing, but, like, I don't know.
George R.R. Okay, all right, I think that's all I have for predictions. Now, let's talk about next chapters, if you
oh my gosh.
Please.
Yes, how many?
2.
Oh.
So, who do you think?
Oh my gosh, okay. So we're, like, not 8 chapters deep, and we still haven't met someone new. And I just, like, want to meet someone new.
Okay.
But, like, we're not gonna. So, okay, we still haven't met Daenerys. So, Daenerys. And then... Daenerys. And then...
Wow, 2 Daenerys chapters back to back?
No.
That's a lot.
No. We're gonna get Daenerys, and then... I literally can't think of... Okay, I want to say Ned, but he's dead. We're gonna get Daenerys. See, but, like, Ned
that would be a weird chapter, because his head's just on a spike. He'll be like, oh, this bird ate my eye today.
No, but, like... But, like, Ned is dead.
My hair's falling out.
Ned is dead. Ned's dead. We need someone. We need a replacement, and we still haven't gotten one. Okay, so we're gonna get, who did I say we're gonna get?
Daddy.
Oh, Daenerys. And then we're gonna get someone new, and the new person's gonna be, Renly. That's who we're gonna get.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, next time we're reading chapters 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 9 is Arya.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Arya has had a lot.
3 chapters. That'll be the 3rd one.
Oh
yeah,
my.
in 9.
Okay.
9 chapters, this is the 3rd one.
Okay, queen. Pop
so what will we
off.
see?
What will we see? So, they're trying to travel faster now to get to the wall. So, I don't know, I just feel like someone's gonna, like, find Arya.
Okay.
And they're not gonna...
So that's gonna happen.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And is this someone gonna be a good guy or a bad guy?
I don't know. If it's a bad...
Just give me a guess, god damn it.
It'll be a good guy.
Okay. Well, you're wrong.
Probably.
Chapter 10 is a new person.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, wait, actually, no, you're tricking me.
No, it's actually a new person.
Oh my gosh, who is it? I'm so excited.
It's Davos.
Who's that?
We've met Davos.
Is that like a sellsword?
No.
No, I don't know who Davos is.
We met him in the prologue.
We did? Was that the dude? No, I don't remember.
Okay. So, at least now you know he's around Stannis.
Yes.
So, what do you think we'll see?
Oh, they were like leaving, right? They were like, we're gonna go right away. Let's have this feast and then leave tomorrow, right? Like that was their plan.
Well, they were more like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead with the war. I don't know if it was like tomorrow.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they're probably just like, well, in the Tyrion chapter we just read, there was like people who were planning to like go join
Stannis,
him.
yeah.
So he's probably like actively just like getting his final recruits, I guess. So he's,
okay.
I guess they're just gonna be kind of recruiting and getting their
like
final
prepping.
Yeah, getting ready for war.
Cool. I'm actually really excited.
Oh my gosh, are these good chapters?
I would say Davos is one of my favorite POVs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, what is this character like? I'm interested now.
All right. That's everything, I guess. Y'all follow us on Instagram at Pop Culture Symposium. Our email is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. And that's everything. So until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.